Welcome to the Voice of Retail. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc. This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. UK-based eyewear brand Specsavers has kicked off a $10 million investment in Canadian marketing alongside a roadmap to opening 200 stores across the country. Today on the Voice of Retail, grab your reading glasses for this close-up look at Specsavers' strategy to enter the Canadian market. I sit down with the company's GM and Executive Vice President, Bill Moir, to talk about the big news. Bill offers insights on the company's decision, how they plan to enter an already saturated North American market, and how their marketing mix and powerful business model is ready to take on the challenge and improve Canadian eye care at the same time.
More recently, we're seeing consolidation in the market. So we're seeing a small number of private equity-backed corporates kind of buying up independent optometrists. And that means there's less choice for customers and there's less opportunities for independent optometrists and business owners to be successful. So our aim is to reverse that trend. We believe the way we'll deliver that and deliver the best patient care to customers is by really ensuring the independence and the autonomy of optometrists, opticians, and retailers.
Let's listen in now. Bill, welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
Really good. Thank you, Michael.
Well, thanks so much for joining me. Where am I reaching you today?
I'm in Vancouver.
Let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your personal, professional background, your journey, and your role at Specsavers.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, thanks for having me today, Michael. You may tell from my accent that I'm not Canadian, born and bred. I was actually born in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Love Edinburgh. Been there a couple of times. Love
Good.
Edinburgh. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So you can understand my accent, which is even better. But most of my working life was actually in London. So I spent 20 years working in various executive board roles in various retail businesses in London, mainly in consumer electronics. So companies like Keza or Google, Dell, working across lots of different functions in marketing, e-commerce, trading. And then about 8 years ago, I moved to Melbourne in Australia, where I worked with Coles, who's the market-leading supermarket out there, and ran their marketing strategy before I joined Specsavers and joined them in Melbourne about 5 years ago. So my first role with Specsavers was as trading director for Australia and New Zealand, where I looked after product and marketing and PR, and was basically responsible for driving the front end of the business. And that was about 8 years after Specsavers had arrived in Australia and New Zealand. So a really, really exciting time to join them, really. It was great to be with the business as we hit some key milestones. So things like reaching over 50% market share and generating $1 billion in revenue for the first time. Most importantly for us, though, was about how many people we helped and looking after the eye health needs of about 3.5 million customers a year. So really exciting. And then a couple of years ago, I moved into a group e-commerce and digital role for Specsavers, and that was just before the COVID pandemic hit. So I had the joy of leading our efforts to make sure we could still service our customers in all our markets and their needs remotely while we were in lockdown in various countries across Europe with services like e-commerce and tele-remote care.
Right.
And then when Specsavers moved into Canada at the beginning of last year with the purchase of a chain called Image Optometry in BC, I jumped at the opportunity to come over to Vancouver to lead our entry into a new market as the general manager. So I moved to Vancouver with my family in May last year, and I've been building the team and putting together our plans to launch the Specsavers brand to Canadian customers.
Well, welcome to Canada. Thank you for bringing your expertise and the global perspective. Now, did you always want to be in this part of business? Was this always the kind of thing you wanted when you were growing up? You wanted to be in business some way, shape, or form, or a little bit about your background that you seem to be thriving in this kind of mix of technological, and service. Was that always the case?
I studied business and marketing at university, so I always had a desire to go into that kind of area. And I've always enjoyed retail, but it's interesting. Consumer electronics is where I started, which is a very high service retail environment. So it's interesting now moving to Specsavers, which is it's the first time I've been in a business which is a combination of retail and healthcare. And I think that's what's really been interesting for me, is applying the knowledge I've had in retail and the passion I've had for retail over the last 25 years, but applying it in a healthcare environment where you're kind of improving people's eye health and caring for customers as well.
Right on. Well, let's talk about Specsavers. I knew of the brand. Actually, I was in one of your locations in Dublin, and then in another one, I do some work for the Irish government, so I happen to spend a fair bit of time, or I used to, in Ireland. So that's where I first met the brand, so to speak, but probably familiar as a name to many. But tell us about the origin of the business, scope and scale. I mean, what makes you different? It's not like it's not a crowded marketplace. You sound like it's been met with great success. And talk about your business model.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it has been a very successful journey. I mean, we were founded just under 40 years ago by an optometrist husband and wife team, so Doug and Mary Perkins. And they set out really to provide accessible and quality eye care to everyone. That was their aim. And they opened the very first store in Bristol in the UK. So it wasn't Ireland, it was Bristol in 1984. And if you fast forward to today, Specsavers, we're now the world's largest optometrist-led business. We've got over 2,300 optical and audiology stores in 11 different countries, and we're the market leader in pretty much every market we operate in. So really from two eye care professionals, Doug and Mary, with a really powerful vision, they're now over 35,000 colleagues working within Specsavers partnership, and we're looking after the eye health of more than 41 million people in 11 countries. So yeah, it's been a huge success story. In terms of what makes us different, there's probably three things about Specsavers that I think really has led to that success. The first one is, I think, we're privately owned and purpose-led. So Doug and Mary and their son John still actively lead and run the business today.
Wow. And family-owned business still, right? Wow.
Family-owned today, and they still, I was speaking to John just last week, in fact, their son, and they do it with the same level of passion, care, commitment that they always have done. But that means we don't need to answer to shareholders. It means we can take long-term decisions. It means we can genuinely prioritize the needs of customers and partners. I mean, I've worked in lots of different businesses over the years, and many who claim to be purpose-led, but in reality, they're simply led by what's right for the bottom line or what's right for the shareholders, which is understandable. But because we're privately owned Specsavers, I mean, our mission is to improve people's lives through better sight. And that's absolutely ingrained in the business to make sure we provide accessible quality eye care to everyone. So it's the first business I've worked in who actually live and breathe purpose in everything that we do. So that's the first thing, I think, is that private owned, purpose-led element. I think the next one for me is about it genuinely puts customers first. Because of the purpose and the ownership structure, we can truly have a customer first mindset in everything we do, from consistently striving for clinical excellence in eye care to making sure that we have really high quality eyewear and making that affordable to customers. So, I mean, to give you an example, we own our own supply chain, which means we give our customers more choice of frames, and we respond more quickly to changes in customers' demands. But it means we can guarantee that the quality of our products is second to none. And globally, we now do around 18 million frames go through our supply chain every year, which means we've got huge economies of scale, which we can then pass on as lower prices for our customers to make sure our eyewear is really affordable. So that's customers. And then the thing that's core to the Specsavers model, and the third thing for us that makes us unique, I think, is partnership. So all our Specsavers stores today remain owner-operated under a really supportive franchise partnership model. So we've got around 3,500 partners across the globe today, and our aim is to make them successful and to support them so they can focus on the eye care and eyewear needs of their customers and their local communities. And
you've said that a couple of times, optometrist-led. So is that the model? It's optometrist-led. Is that uniformly 100%? That's where it begins? Or talk about that a bit?
Yeah, it's optometrist-led because Doug and Mary themselves are optometrists. So their passion and their care and their reason for being in business is to help people and to improve people's eye health. In terms of the stores individually, each store typically has two partners and they jointly own it. So there's an optometry partner who looks after the clinical needs of their customers. And then at the front of store, there's a retailer or optician partner who looks after the retail area, and they look after the eyewear needs of their customers.
Sure.
And then we put a high support model in place around them, and it frees them up so they can work together to really focus on growing their business, developing their team, and caring for their customers. So that's the thing that's really core is the customer and partnership focus. I mean, to give you an idea how deep rooted that is in the meeting rooms we set up in our support office here in Canada, we've got a sign on the wall in every meeting room which says better for partners and better for customers. So we can constantly remind ourselves that any decision we make needs to satisfy these two things.
Yeah. I've been part of many franchise-led or franchise component organizations. Last stop would have been a Pandora Jewelry that you would know. How important it is to have that partnership, and some go down a different track or a parallel track, right, of corporate owned and franchise. Do you have any corporate owned, or you're 100% franchise?
100% franchise. That's the essence of the model. Is that we were passionate about making sure there's people owning a local store, so they wake up every day caring about the needs of the customers in their local community. That's what our business is all about.
Now, do you make the frames, make the product, the glass in each country that you operate, or is there a centralized, is there let's call it a manufacturing or processing plant here now in Canada? Is that part of the model as well?
We've got elements of a supply chain all over the world. We have them in Asia. We've got sites in the UK, in Australia, and we have got a facility here as well. We've got a lab here in Vancouver. We're doing as well. So we'll move around production and edging of glasses to the place that makes most sense for our customers and give them best value. But we've got a variety of different sites we can use, which actually has been very helpful in the last couple of years with COVID. We've been able to flex our supply chain so we can still ensure continuity of supply for customers.
And last question, just about the model, is all of your frames, are they all licensed brands? Do you have any private label brands? Talk a little bit about the product.
Yeah, we offer both. It's all about customer choice. So we have some exclusive license agreements with some third-party brands, which we offer. And we also, a lot of our range is our own brand product, which tends to be better value for customers as well. So we want to cater, the whole concept of Specsavers is there for everyone. So we want to have a wide range that appeals to the majority of the market.
Well, all right. So what brought us here today, specifically, is this big news that you put out this week, a big investment in Canada, big expansion. Everything is pretty significant. It made quite the impression. So share tell the listeners what's going on and what about the plans? What are you doing in Canada?
Well, yes, some really exciting news. So we've been excited about Canada for a long time. And it's really always appealed to us, really, because there's been lots of different optical players here, but we don't believe anyone's really properly servicing the needs of customers. I mean, we see high prices being offered, which leads to long purchase cycles for customers, and therefore that people aren't getting their eyes checked very often, or eye exams very often, so poor clinical care. And more recently, we're seeing consolidation in the market. So we're seeing a small number of private equity-backed corporates kind of buying up independent optometrists. And that means there's less choice for customers and there's less opportunities for independent optometrists and business owners to be successful. So our aim is to reverse that trend. We believe the way we'll deliver that and deliver the best patient care to customers is by really ensuring the independence and the autonomy of optometrists, opticians, and retailers. We're creating amazing opportunities to enable them to own their own thriving business and have access to cutting-edge technology to put their patients first. So we started the journey already. We've opened 4 stores now in BC. We'll have another 12 open by April this year. And that forms a start of a really ambitious rollout plan, which will see us open 200 stores over the next 2 years across multiple provinces. So we're already in conversations with landlords to secure properties in the best locations. We're now speaking to partners who share our values, who'd like to come on board and own one of these locations and run their own business. So,
and they should, if anyone happens to be listening to this that may be intrigued by that on the business side, they should reach out to you directly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing something that's, as far as I'm aware, has never been done before. So as I explained before, each store is going to be jointly owned by an optometrist and an optician or retailer, and we're offering them an incredible opportunity to own their own business. We are going to build these stores brand new. We're going to put in the latest clinical equipment and technology. We're going to put in all the stock. All in, it costs around $500,000 per store. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover 100% of that cost. 100% of that startup cost will be covered purely by Specsavers. So the optometrists, the opticians, the retailers who come in to partner with us will own these stores, and they'll get a brand new business completely set up, debt-free from day one, which that means that the partners who join us now can start making a profit from day one. And we'll also give them lots of support to help them too, not just help them set up their business, but guidance, training, development, admin support to make sure the business grows and is successful. So, not only that, they'll benefit from our multi-million advertising spend, which kicks in BC later on this year, to make sure customers know about the brand. So, yeah, if any of your listeners are interested in finding more about them, they can either email us at inquiries.ca@specsavers.com, or they can visit. There's a website, spectrum-specsavers.ca. So try again.
Yes,
Spectrum-Specsavers.ca.
that's a thing.
Lots of information there about what it's like to work with us as a partner.
Well, amongst other things, send that to me, and I will put that for the listeners in the show notes so they can easily click on that link. All right, so that's a huge investment, even made more so by the model. Now, when I think of the optician, the glassware category, I think of it as pretty crowded. Actually, I think there's a lot of what you and I might call digital native vertical brands. There's the mass merchants who are involved. There's everything from reading glasses on. So what is it that you said that there's a gap in this market? You feel that kind of investment is warranted, and is it because of the value you bring, the kind of that value equation that's going to make you popular? What is it that gives you that confidence that Canada is the right market for Specsavers?
You're totally right, Michael. I completely agree. You've got to bring something different to the market if you're going to be successful, and it's not just for customers, but also for the professionals who work in the industry too. And that's why I'm confident, because Specsavers is bringing something unique for everyone. I think our aim is quite simply to transform eye health and transform careers. So let's break that one down. So transform eye health is about giving customers better patient care, a greater variety of affordable, high-quality eyewear. So in terms of patient care, what does that mean? Well, we're equipping every single store with a brand new OCT machine. So that's a machine which can take a really comprehensive 3D scan of the back of your eye. And it gives us much greater ability to detect eye diseases early. We've actually proven that by doing this with every customer, we can double the usual detection rate of diseases like glaucoma.
Wow.
And in Canada, we're going to be introducing that as free for every single customer as part of our standard eye exam. And as far as I'm aware, we're the only optometry chain in Canada who'll be offering that. So that's how we'll really drive patient care.
It's an interesting point. I want to hang on that a little bit because, as you probably know, in Ontario, there's a bit of a bun fight happening between the optometrists' care and the governments. I mean, you have as a stakeholder, particularly in Canada, the governments in terms of their healthcare. That your solution integrates with that, but it sounds like you've gone over and above in terms of the value you deliver from as you continue to say the health, not just the vision part. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's not about pricing or discounting necessarily eye exams. It's making them affordable, but it's really making sure that when we do them, we have a very comprehensive eye exam, which is available to everyone. So we want to make sure everyone gets the best clinical care and the best eye health exam when they come to us for an eye exam, and that's why we're introducing the latest technology into all our stores and giving it to customers as part of a standard exam.
Well, it gives you the confidence. Let's talk. You come here. I can't miss the opportunity to have you on the mic and not ask you questions about kind of your perspective about how to grow a business. I mean, there's the one side is getting the business set up and the franchisees and the right business partners and the right real estate. But let's talk about what happens next, which is the marketing and getting out to the people your message. How are you thinking about that? What's been successful in your experience? You had great success in Australia, great success internationally by the sounds of it. What is it? Is it a mix of traditional media and social media? Is it influencer marketing? Is your answer just going to be yes to everything, which is, I guess, part of our world these days? But stores as an acquisition, a bit of stores. How do you think about the marketing mix to achieve the demand side for your partners?
Yeah, well, we've got a really significant marketing spend. It's a huge part of the focus as we build a brand in Canada. So our goal ultimately is to make eye care accessible to everyone. So we need to leverage a mixture of kind of new and traditional media to make sure we share the message with a really wide group of customers. What you find in the optical market is it doesn't have a high frequency of purchase. Customers maybe only purchase every couple of years. So social media is a really useful tool to engage with customers directly and build a relationship with them outside these key purchase points. So we use it to engage with customers on something beyond optical, so they stay engaged with us. We use our sense of humor. We use some care stories. It helps keep us top of mind when the time comes for the next
style, I guess. Style as well, too, yeah.
Style's absolutely critical to a lot of people, yeah. We use it not just in our marketing activity, though. We also use it for customer care and services because it's really important to be accessible for customers however they want to interact with us. I mean, over the last couple of years, obviously with COVID, some customers have preferred to reduce their visits to stores. So social channels have become the primary channel for us to engage with them, and we've been able to let them know we're there for them and have human-to-human conversations. So it's a really key channel. I think the other thing that's important to us is not all about new channels. The traditional media is still really important to us. In optics, the customer demographics tend to be a bit older by the very nature of the category. People's eyesight tends to deteriorate once they get older. So
once I hit 40, it was unbelievable. I had perfect eyesight until I hit 40, almost like to the day, and then it started to. I have glasses that I read with my long. I can see far away perfectly, but my reading, I needed reading glasses, and that boy, you're right about age. You snap that button in 40, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need glasses. But
yeah, and you're pretty much pretty typical, I'd say, for that 40 to 45 year old age category is exactly when people start to find their eyesight deteriorates and they need to get glasses. So we do often speak to slightly older customer demographic. The other thing is because unlike some other categories which have a high propensity to go online, our stores are still a fundamental part of our customer journey. I mean, to properly assess a patient's eye health as part of an eye exam, it needs to be carried out by a trained optometrist with the right equipment in store, and you can't really do that remotely. So while social media is important to us, we need to keep a really balanced mix across new and traditional channels. Stores are central to the customer journey, and that's why we're rolling out 200 of them over the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's a big push. Now, have you observed any broader trends? I think of things like ESG and people thinking about where their products come from. I mean, after this couple of years of this COVID era, I think we're all thinking or trying to understand what is different about how consumers approach all the things that they do, all the things that we do. Any thoughts on that and the role of ESG and sustainability, what that means in your business?
Yeah, I mean, as with all business at the moment, it's absolutely critical to us. We're interestingly, our CEO, our owner, John Perkins, is actually our chief sustainability officer. That's how important it is for us. So we ensure sustainability is considered right from the very top of the business. And like many businesses, we're on a journey. We're constantly looking to make improvements. We just introduced our Eyeware line, which is glasses line made completely from recycled materials, because we know these things are really important to customers. And we've also got glasses recycling options available for customers in all of our locations. But it's not just about the environmental things. When it comes to our community and charity work, we focus on that both at a local and national level. When our stores are locally owned by optometrists and retail partners who work in the community, and they often decide on the projects and charities they want to work with. I was speaking yesterday, in fact, to Saya Gilks, who's our retail partner in our Woodgrove store in Vancouver Island, and she was telling me she's been building relationships with her local Indigenous brands so they can benefit from our industry-leading eye health and amazing price and benefits, and they've been really appreciative of what we represent and the benefits we can bring to their community. So we do things on a local basis, and also larger charities. I mean, for example, the last 10 years in Australia, we've donated more than $4 million to the Fred Hollows Foundation to help improve the eye health services for Aboriginal communities. In the UK, we support numerous charities like Glaucoma UK or Hearing Dogs for Deaf People. And in Canada, at the moment, we're raising funds for the Canucks for Kids Foundation that does some great work over here as well. So, yeah, it's a really core part of our strategy and our plans.
One thing we didn't talk about is tell us about the value proposition, like at a price point level. The price point kind of spans a spectrum. If I was to walk in as I kind of need now, I'm a little late on it. If I need a pair of glasses, I mean, give me an idea of your average price point, just so we can kind of, again, put you on the map. But listeners can kind of put you on the map if they're not aware of you and figure out where you sit in the value equation. Sure.
I mean, well, let me ask you. I mean, you're a glasses wearer yourself, Michael. How much did you, if you don't mind me asking, how much did you pay for your last pair of glasses?
I think the which sits at the bottom of a lake right now, unfortunately. I paid let's see, $349 because I know that price point because the retailer I went to has one price point for basic. I have transitions, also known as bifocals, that we used to call them, but now they're called transitions. So $349. Now the pair I'm wearing today is a bespoke kind of. I think it was $1,400 or $1,500, kind of from a local eyewear. So quite the range, really. In terms of, so that's where I kind of, that's a pretty broad range, but that's
quite a big range. Today. Yeah, and we're seeing that it's really typical in the market here. There's the average price for a glass is quite high in Canada. We've got custom made glasses that start from $69 for a complete pair of single vision glasses, and that includes the frame and the lens. And for $149, you can get a complete pair of progressive glasses that includes the frames and the lenses as well. So the prices we're offering things that are considerably more affordable than the rest of the market. That's a really important part actually of what we're wanting to do, and why I know the model is going to be successful in Canada. It's a really tried and tested model. If I give you an example of, I tend not to like comparing different countries, but most of the dynamics I'm seeing in optics in Canada are quite similar to what we saw in Australia. As a large country, multiple provinces,
very
highly
similar.
regulated.
We often compare ourselves to Australia more than any other country for a whole bunch of reasons, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think when we launched in Australia 12 years ago, it was very similar to here. The average cost of a pair of glasses was high. It was about $800. The levels of clinical eye care were poor because of the high cost, and people delayed their visits to the optometrist. So they only went every 4 or 5 years. So we came in with high standards of clinical care and high quality, affordable glasses, and grew really quickly. And 10 years later, we've now helped a lot of customers. We're the market leaders, but we've changed the whole dynamics in the market. We've now more than half the cost of a pair of glasses across the whole of Australia, which means customers aren't delaying their visits to their optometrist, and now they're having eye exams much more regularly. It's every 2 or 3 years, and that's significantly improved the eye health of the nation. And because we have made eyewear more affordable, customers are now buying more glasses. So we've actually doubled the size of the market as a whole as well. So we've created an environment which is better for customers and eye health, but also better for the industry as well. That's exactly what we're hoping to do in Canada.
All right. Well, listen, usually I ask my guests what's next, but boy, I think you've got a lot of what's next going on. You know, when you talk about your number of stores, what's your timeline for all that? Where do you? I mean, it sounds like you're moving with great pace. You know, when do you think is this 18 months, 2 years? Like, what's I guess it's the right pace to find the right partners. It's job one, but talk about what's next and when you think you'll be moving ahead and achieve that at least first milestone of the big footprint in Canada.
Yeah, well, we're on the journey already. So as I said, 4 stores open. We've got another 16, which will be open in the next 2 or 3 months. Our aim is to focus on 200 stores across Canada in the next 2 years. And we're committed to creating these as successful, independently owned businesses, with the aim of trying to improve the lives of Canadians through better sight. So we've already started to secure locations across Canada, and we're already in conversations with optometrists, opticians, and retailers who want to turbocharge their careers by owning one of them.
All right. Well, listen, you've told us about how potential franchisee partners to get in touch. How about getting in touch with you? Are you a LinkedIn person? What's the best way to get in touch with you and learn more and just help you stay connected to the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm always open to people to connect with me there. We're starting the revolution in Canada, and it's going to transform eye health and transform careers. And anyone who'd like to join us on that journey, please feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. If it sounds interesting, or anyone else is interested, we want to find out more, I say email us at inquiries.ca@specsavers.com. I'll give you the details so you can put them in the podcast. We're also, in fact, running a series of online information sessions as well throughout February. So some webinars, different ones for different provinces, which we can share more details about the amazing opportunity we've got to own your own store. And the separate ones for retailers and optician or optometrists, so we can share the information that's really specific to you. So if you want to find out more, that's a really good source. But I would register. The slots of the webinars are filling up fast. We're running in February, so I'd advise registering quickly if people are interested. I can provide the details for when they're running.
Perfect. Well, listen, lots going on, so really appreciate you taking the time to speak with the Voice of Retail. It's a real treat meeting you, and welcome again to Canada, and I wish you continued success and success in the future as you establish your foundation here. And again, thanks for joining me on the Voice of Retail. It was a real treat to get to chat with you and learn about the business.
Thanks very much, Michael. Great. Thanks for the opportunity to share our story.
Thanks for tuning into this special episode of The Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, be sure and click and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically twice a week. And check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast, Conversations with Commerce Next Podcast, and the Food Professor Podcast with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois. Last but not least, if you're into barbecue, check out my all-new YouTube barbecue show, Last Request Barbecue, with new episodes each and every week. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc, president of Emmy LeBlanc Company and Maven Media. And if you're looking for more content or want to chat, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at emmyleblanc.co. Have Have a safe week, everyone.